All right, my friends, welcome back to the Reisinger Build. We've been building this house in partnership with our friends at Builders First Source and showing you the entire process, start to finish. Now, if you haven't seen the prior episodes, you gotta catch up. We've had a lot going on here. We're actually talking about kitchen and bath, specifically cabinetry install. Today's episode sponsored by our friends at Benchmark Kitchens and Bath here in Austin, Texas, and their supplier, which is Crystal Cabinets out of Minnesota. But before we jump inside, I think it's really important at this stage of construction to talk briefly about the outside of the house. You know, when you get into construction, you can, number one, fall into kind of a bad relationship with neighbors if you don't maintain your site. And also, as we think about cabinetry, there's a lot of stuff that needs to go from the curb to the house with delivery. And so I want to take a quick second to say, make sure all your erosion control is in place. The neighbors do not like it when they see mud flowing onto the streets. You will absolutely destroy your relationship with both your inspector and your neighbor. So make sure your erosion control is in place. Secondly, we've got our job site fencing with our address and with our signage out front. That's really important to maintain this kind of look of a professional job site. Now, we've got a couple Builders First Source signs out front, of course, but I do want you to see that we've got a job site sign with our logo and with the job site address. That's really important for deliveries. And then as we walk through the fence, a couple things I want to point out that, believe it or not, are important for cabinetry. We want to make sure that there's not a muddy path into the house. So we're a big fan of doing a heavy mulch. This isn't your typical garden mulch. This is more like you took a tree down and you sent it through a chipper. And that really keeps the mud down. So if we're walking cabinets into the house from the outside, no one's tracking in mud to the house. The other thing you're going to notice over here is I've got a job site conditioner. This is actually a 5-ton heat pump that my company owns and actually rents to my jobs. And as we think about the trim and cabinetry stage, we want to install those things, especially if there's any caulking involved, and put them into what they think of as a finished house, meaning the product doesn't know any different. If we have spikes in humidity and temperature and changes, that's going to make that wood move and swell on us. So by us maintaining that with this 5-ton heat pump unit, we're going to maintain a constant humidity and a relatively constant temperature. Now, it doesn't need to be 72 in there, right? But we don't want it 102 degrees, and we also don't want it 20 degrees. Nor do we want spikes in humidity that's 80% humidity for days and days in a row. And then all of a sudden the homeowners move in, turn the air conditioner on, and all of a sudden we've sucked all this moisture out of the wood and everything shrinks. That's really bad for our finishes, especially our cabinetry, our trim, our crown molding, anything that's going on in the house. So I wanted to point a couple of those things out. With that being said, though, let's get inside and let's show you what's going on with the cabinetry. The Reisinger Build in partnership with Builders First Source. Let's get going.
A Build Original Series in partnership with Builders First Source. The Reisinger Build.
All right, y'all, this is actually day 2 of my friends at Benchmark Cabinetry. There's David. What's up, buddy? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having us.
David, we are installing some pre-finished, pre-made cabinets from a company called Crystal.
Yes, sir.
Which these are actually made out of state, right? This isn't
Minnesota.
a Texas company.
We're made in Minnesota.
Pre-finished, which I love, so we're not spraying anything on site.
Exactly.
Totally done.
Custom sheen, custom paint, conversion varnish, factory finish.
They look really
About
nice.
as bomb-proof as you can get.
But let's step a second back and talk about kind of what makes a good cabinet from the guts of the cabinet.
Yep.
Because you know everyone jokes about the big box cabinetry. I don't want to say I don't want to disparage their name here. But I think it's what you can't see that really makes your cabinets and Crystal that we partner with such a good choice. And you can see it right here, right?
Exactly. It's real wood. You can see the cores. This is a domestic plywood.
Yep.
A lot of people will cut corners and buy something from Vietnam or from China for their casework.
Yep.
It's about half the price per sheet.
Interesting.
The veneer's almost like microscopically thin.
Yep.
These have solid wood drawers. They have dovetails on the side.
How about that, man? That's really nice.
Another thing, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but the guides are a blue Movento. That's their sort of newer upgraded guide that works differently than the you know, everybody uses loom. It's kind of an industry standard, but
Yeah, and these are
the
the
vendors
full
are a little
extension,
nicer.
right? So they pull
Yeah.
all the way back and get to the back of the drawer. What's hard to also show on camera, but these are pre-finished
Yep.
on the inside too. So it's not just bare plywood. We don't need to spray any clear coat on the job.
It's another
That's already
line
happened
item
at
that the builder
factory.
could take off of their, you know,
Yeah.
billing.
And not just the drawers, but also the cabinetry has that UV finished as well,
It's
right?
got a nice satin sheen to it.
I like
Super
it.
easy to clean up. And yeah, like you said, there's nothing for the builder to do.
Yeah.
We've got all of our boxes. The rest of the boxes back there, they come boxed. Crystal actually has a CNC box maker.
Is that right?
It knows what box is coming down the line, and it will fold the cardboard for the guys and shipping, and it just goes out in a perfectly sized box.
Yeah, I love it.
Everything came, no damage, no dings, no dents, from 1,000 miles away.
Not bad. Not your first rodeo.
For
Let's
sure.
back up a second though and tell these guys why we like pre-finished. Because you and I have been around for the days where we would have maybe even a site finished carpenter and made kitchen.
Yep.
You know, we have a stack of MDF for the fronts. We have a stack of plywood for the bases.
Yep.
You know, 2 or 3 person team is actually making those cabinets. Then the hard part is they get almost fully disassembled. We got to pull all the drawers out. We got to pull all the fronts out. Have your painter set up a spray booth here in the house
Or in the garage.
It's shut down the
10
job.
days. Yep.
And maybe it's 10 degrees outside, so we're worried about what's the temperature, or maybe it's 90% humidity that day.
Yep.
Then we got to site finish them. And then the part that I hated always in that process is now we got to put the whole thing back together.
Yes.
And we got
And the
all
painters
these
are
things
not
looking
cabinet
wonky.
guys. They can kind of, they know how the hinges work, and they'll throw the drawers
Right.
back in. But yeah, it's another day or two of labor and time to
Yeah.
get it just right.
So I guess the point that I want to make is a lot of builders like me that have been around the block and done that have realized, gosh, these pre-finished, you're going to pay more, absolutely. But would you rather have your car painted in the driveway, or would you rather have your car painted at the Mercedes-Benz factory?
Yeah, for sure.
And you get
That's
a
a
much
great
better
analogy.
finish when Mercedes finishes your car
Yep.
rather than my guy doing it in the driveway.
Yeah.
Everything's better. And yes, you pay more, but it's definitely better.
Another nice thing to add is that, you know, trade damage is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
One of these doors in this house is going to get a nick or a ding or a dent somehow.
Yep.
And we can tell Crystal, we'll tell them the box code, the box number,
Yep.
the paint finish, the sheen.
I love that.
And somehow, some way it comes every time.
Yeah. for
Perfect
sure.
condition, pops right on.
That's
you're out
really
of
a
there.
big deal.
Yeah.
Let's back up to the beginning though, David. I mean, when we plan a kitchen together, one nice thing about this particular house is we use the digital tools through Builders First Source, where they were able to kind of model the architects, Steve Basics drawings, Chelsea's work, and show the renderings of this kitchen. We could play with colors and do all that kind of stuff. But you guys do shop drawings that are way better than most of the world's shop drawings when you look at
Thank
these on
you.
the wall.
Yeah.
This is a whole different deal. It's a game changer. So for instance, this wall right here, which is the wall we're at, the kitchen sink is going right here. Don't be fooled by this temporary MDF. This is just a tool holder here at the kitchen sink. But here's our kitchen sink. Here's our uppers. To be able to really see what that's going to look like is fantastic. With one caveat, we changed something actually from this original plan, which was kind of a little bit more basic. And I have a sample right here, David. Actually, you have a sample
Yes,
right
sir.
here. What do we do?
The new latest greatest is adding radii to our corners. So these shaker doors, this will be missing. It'll be glass, and we're going to have a radius inside corner. Just a nice
Dang.
little pop of trend.
That's going to look really nice.
Another-
Which also goes with the radiuses here in the kitchen.
Yes, sir.
Where our cooktop's going, we get that radius top.
Yep.
And at our little, I don't know what you call it, bar top, I guess, for lack of a better term, we have that radius in the sheetrock as well.
Yes, sir. And we are going to have a hidden bookcase with a double radius top
Yeah,
that leads to your understairs storage.
I like that.
What we're starting to do too, there's a brand called Salici that makes, it's called an air hinge, and that hinge will mount at the bottom and the top. It's mortised into the carcass, and you don't see the little chrome bloom hinges when
really?
you look through the glass.
Oh, fabulous. And then what's the interior of that? Is that a UV finished birch on the inside there as well,
That
or
was
what?
a small upgrade. So over here, this kitchen is a mix of paint grade, and then we have a rift white oak with a custom stain color on it too.
So that will be-
that is the interior.
Oh,
of the
wow.
boxes.
So that must be those uppers that haven't been fully unboxed and
Yes,
put
sir.
together
Just
yet.
waiting for their turn to get installed.
Dang, that's pretty cool.
Of course, we're going to do integrated lighting, so they'll have strip lights up the side and then a under cabinet light.
Tell me about trends on that, because you and I did my house together a couple years ago. I don't know if you saw that project.
Yep.
We called it the Real Rebuild, and I have a walnut island that you guys did that's gorgeous, and I really wanted a timeless look. I went with a white, painted cabinetry in the exterior, but that pop of walnut, which 3 years ago no one could get enough of walnut. Is walnut still a trending?
Walnut's still trending.
Okay.
Rift white oak, I don't think will ever die.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, that's what our floors are here. They're not rift, but they're white oak.
Yeah.
Whereas the rift sawn's even nicer.
Very
You
clean,
don't get any
tight
of
lines.
those what do they call those?
Cathedraling.
Cathedraling, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So I agree with you. White oak's really, really timeless. It's hard to think about that being like, oh, that was so 2022.
You couldn't go wrong though with white and a dark island.
Right.
I think that's still a very trendy choice.
So David, this color on this is pretty trendy, isn't it? What do we got here? Like kind of a lightish taupe?
Yeah, they call it wool skein. It's a Sherwin-Williams color, and your in-house designer Chelsea picked that for us.
So was that a factory color from Crystal?
Nope.
Or
Yep.
oh, so she was able to actually choose whatever she wanted from the color deck.
You guys have a Kohler bathtub that's this beautiful blue, and we sent the color chip up to Crystal, and so the family room built in is going to match
Oh, I
the
didn't know
bathtub.
that.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
We've sent pots that were turquoise and like Le Creuset cookware. They'll match whatever.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
How about that?
And the same thing, like I was saying before, if there's an issue or damage, it comes back the same color. I don't know how they do it.
That's fabulous.
You've been through it with site finishing.
Yeah.
That one door, it's like, it's so close, but it's not exactly the right color.
David, let me press you on schedule here. We're only on day 2, and it's not even the end of the day yet. And man, we've gotten a ton done. It looks like all this base is done. Our island's just about finished here in the kitchen. What do you think on schedule?
4 or 5 days we'll be ready to template. You could template in here now, but we have a few other elevations that will be done with probably Wednesday.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's fabulous. Let's let the Benchmark team keep rocking over here. We'll check back in with them. As I mentioned, I actually have my finish carpenters starting tomorrow. We got a lot going on, so let's pick it back up and we get some more action. Oh man, isn't it fun to finally come through the Pella front door? Day 3 on cabinets, looking fabulous in here, but before we get there, let me show you this. Here's why I didn't come through the garage. Look at this beautiful tile. The Barrett Flooring guys putting in this clay imports. This is basically our laundry room, kind of entrance off the garage. We'll be putting cabinetry in here soon, and this is where both the laundry units will be and the water heater closet. But as we continue down the foyer, look at the scene. Let's go find David Betts. There he is. David,
Hey, Matt.
good morning.
Morning. How you doing?
Man, look at the progress you guys have made. This looks really nice, David.
I'm really happy with how the back panels came out.
I really like it. So this dichotomy, gosh, what do I call it? Just the difference between the white oak and the painted. I love that look, David.
It's a beautiful choice.
That's a great choice. Chelsea chose these selections with y'all, and you guys are doing a great job.
Kind of calm neutrals are the way right now.
For sure. So let's talk about this island, though. This is a little bit different than a lot of islands in that we had this center 2x6 wall in here, which allowed us to put in, for instance, that plug in there. Do you like having that center wall? Does that add some stability, or would you prefer a freestanding?
We don't need it. We generally like it because there's very commonly a sink in the island.
Right,
and if we don't have it, then there's penetrations coming right up through the bottom of the cabinet.
Sure.
Which kind of screws up your sink storage and just makes a mess.
Talk to me about full extension slides versus the old days where we only had 3/4. Is this like a really expensive upgrade
These
to
days,
get to the full extension?
these days, it's kind of hard to find the old style.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's probably, if you were to buy them as a civilian, it's a $5 or $10 difference per guide.
Per guide.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And, yeah, it just kind of makes no sense at this point.
Obviously,
to not have a full
Crystal's buying
extension.
these by the truckload probably,
Sure.
so it's going to bring that cost price down.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense. Man, I love it, dude. It's looking fabulous in here.
A couple nice details. We've got these added fillers. This gives you kind of a hybrid inset look. So your door fronts and door fronts are captured by the fillers on both sides. It's another little kind of luxury touch that Chelsea added to it.
Yeah, I like that. It's worth pointing out, we talked about this in prior episodes, but this gets a slide-in woof range. And it's really important to make sure you know exactly what the specs are, that David knows, that my electrician knows.
Yep.
Because if you notice, like that outlet that's back there, that's the 220 line for the oven, that placement on that can be really, really precise. And the same is true with our Sub-Zero over there, where the water line goes,
Yep.
where the power goes, those all need to be in the exact right spot.
They call out very exactly or the fridge won't fit. You know,
Yeah, there's usually a window of like,
yeah.
you know,
They have a
plus or
little pocket
minus.
in the back.
Right, exactly. You got like a 2-inch forgiveness window on there, and that's
Right.
about it.
And just so everybody knows, we're always going to have those specs up on our install sheets.
Oh, is that right?
So,
Okay.
yeah, we just take the PDF and insert it on here so we know what our width is and our height and
Yeah.
where the cleats go on this
That's
particular Sub-Zero.
Really helpful. Now, we used job site codes. I noticed you got a QR code in yours. We've been utilizing job site codes to make sure all the trades knew exactly what cut sheets were, and we really like that.
This is just shameless self-promotion. It goes right to our Instagram.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Now, here's something I haven't seen before, David, and I actually didn't expect this. Is this a new feature, having a pull-out tray underneath there?
Yep, when the Windex is in the back corner, just you pull it right out.
I really like that. That's cool. David, when I look in the back of this cabinet, man, it looks like you guys made a template. Those cuts are perfect. How are they getting those?
They're going to kind of creep up on it. So you see a little telltale line from the installer where we're starting, but that box is here and we're going to measure off of that. And we can measure from the top because we have a level line across the top, and it's just very careful measurement.
Makes sense.
Making sure that you're hooking your tape on the right spot of that box.
You know, as I'm saying that, I'm realizing that I don't know that I talked to you about this. Let's see if your guys / my team got it right. But this is a spot where I've got a hose bib on this kind of wall intersection, and I figure someday, you know, 30 years from now, if they need to change that hose bib, I want to have the ability to get there without having to think about it. So before this countertop goes in, we want to cut a section of that cabinet back out to leave access for that in the future.
Always keeping us on our toes.
I mean, you know, even the best make, honestly, I forgot to tell you about it. I didn't think about it. Before we roll, though, let's go check out the master, because I have not seen the master vanity yet.
Yeah, we got
and
a
I
nice
bet that's
floating
gonna look,
vanity in there for you.
I bet that's going to look fabulous. Walk with us, guys. Let's head over that way. And look at this, David. This looks really nice. I love it. White oak floating vanity.
I love how this came out.
Yeah, this turned out great. Talk to me about attachment. You know, this thing's literally floating.
Yep.
Are we worried that this thing's gonna sag on us over time?
Not at all. So we have, they're from centerline brackets. They're steel brackets that are 1/2 inch thick. It's got a 6-inch tall plate that mounts your studs with 6 lag bolts, and then it's got a welded arm that comes out. So there's one here and there's one down at the tip.
So if we throw our camera under there, we can see that
Exactly.
big angle iron basically under there that's gonna.
We
hold
also
that
come
up.
back, and this top stretcher is capturing the back, and we use it's like a washer head screw, so it's got a flat back, and we're coming through to every framing member on the top. We want to
Making
make
sure
sure,
everything's really tight in there.
just in case, you know, she's not going anywhere.
I mean, with your 300-pound frame, dude, it's not going anywhere. That's pretty impressive.
178, thank you very much.
And again, those pre-finished interiors, I really like it. I mean, we talked earlier in the episode about the difference between pre-finished and site-finished. Funny enough, we made an Instagram story about that, and there's always people that are like, you're crazy to spend the money on pre-finishing. Why don't you just finish it on site? It's better on site. I just don't agree with that.
I don't either. I
think
was surprised at the dissenting opinions on there.
I mean, there's as many, as you know, there's 5 million flavors of cabinetry.
Sure.
And honestly, I was thinking about this morning before we started shooting. You know, there's such a range of costs. You know, some people go to that, I don't want to say their name, the big 4-letter box, right? And you can get a cabinet for $50 or whatever.
Yeah.
Has some weird Norwegian name. All the way up to you know, cabinets that are made in Germany that are super expensive.
Yeah.
And everything in between, from the person who's building them on site while they're doing the rest of the carpentry, local shops like Crystal, which are in America and using beautiful stuff, but there's a whole range of costs there. And honestly, it's a pretty big budget item, even on an expensive house. So, you know, for me, I feel like you're better off using less cabinetry in the house and going to a higher quality, rather than trying to put cabinetry everywhere but doing a lower quality.
Yeah, that's true. You have offices and media rooms where you can kind of go buy something off the shelf.
Right.
And I would rather spend more money in the kitchen and the master.
Yeah.
To benchmark or to whoever your cabinet purveyor is.
Totally.
And just buy something that kind of fits within the space.
That's something we talk a lot about in our office and with client meetings. We're going A in the kitchen, but we're going to go B maybe in the secondary spaces and maybe even C in the kids' bathrooms in terms of quality level.
For sure.
And you guys actually have that option both through your company, Benchmark, and through Crystal that you buy from. Is that right?
Yep. They have a line called Current. This is their Encore line. It's sort of their fully custom line. Mm-hmm. And then Current limits you on a little bit on colors and door styles, but comes in at a much more affordable price. So that would be in like bath 2, bath 3, a utility room. Because I think on every job we are expected to do some sort of value engineering.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody, you start at the top, and then we kind of go what is really important to the client.
Yeah, for sure. And on that point, let's come around the corner. My last point before we wrap it up today. As I come around the corner here, you're going to notice that our master closet is empty in here, and we did that on purpose. This house has not been sold yet. This is going to be for sale when it's finished. Especially closets like this for the owner of the house, I think need to be just really customized by that person to fit their lifestyle. If a shoe fanatic buys this house, this whole wall could be nothing but lit up shoe cubbies for their $800 Nike collection. It all depends on what you're going to do. So at my personal house, when my wife and I went and designed our master closet, we used California Closets. They're all over the place. No affiliation with those guys, but I really liked how I was able to fully customize my area, and my wife did the same. So that's what we've done here, is kind of left a blank slate. We're going to put some base molding in here, and then this will be basically, we're going to call it done for now so that someone can come in and customize. And on that note, by the way, I've not really talked about this before, but this house is a speculative project, meaning we didn't have a person attached. This was our show house for Build Show Live. This is going to be for sale in the springtime, so depending on when you're watching this, it's going to go in the market before too long. As you can tell, the finishes are absolutely dynamite on this house. And if you've been following along in the series, you know that we really spend a lot of time nailing the details. If you're interested in this particular house, shoot us an email at hello@reisingerbuild.com. We'd love to tell you more about it and give you a range of cost for where we think this is going to go. But ultimately, we're going to put it in the market and take an offer for it. So with that being said, let's let David's crew get back to work. We're not too far away from finishing cabinets, and we'll come back and finish up the episode. All right, y'all, we are on the tail end. Excited to see what Benchmark's doing. David.
Good to see you, Matt.
Dude, it's been a day or two, and it's looking fabulous over here.
Yes, sir. We got the uppers in.
Look at those uppers. Those turned out beautiful. All right, so give me the scoop here. This is a wood and painted glass with a kind of round top.
Yeah, Chelsea selected a radius corner door.
I like that.
To match.
I have to match this radius, obviously, right. I've never seen these hinges before, David. Those are cool.
These are
what
Italian
are these?
hinges. They're called Salici Air.
Salici Air.
They require a special routing jig, and the actual pocket of this, it's mortised in about 2 inches into the cabinet.
Wow.
So the soft close action is kind of living back in this space.
Soft close action. You don't have to tell me twice. Check that out. That is some nice soft close action, isn't it? One more time for fun. By the way, he's got one more piece that's getting routed right here to accept our under cabinet lights. So that doesn't quite finish yet, but look how nice those hinges work. This turned out great.
A long time pet peeve of mine is seeing the chrome hinges up the side of the cabinet when you have a glass door cabinet, and this solves that problem.
Yeah, you don't see
They're visible
anything
from the outside.
Yeah, so when you open them, you see the hinge, but when the door is closed, there's nothing in there whatsoever.
Yeah.
That turned out real nice.
They're super strong too. These hinges will work for an 8-foot tall door.
Is that right?
Just have one on each end. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. And these glass doors are obviously a little bit heavier, so that's good.
Yeah, 7/8 thick.
I like that. This turned out great. I can't wait to see my backsplash. I got a Clay Imports backsplash tile going on there. Show me a little bit of the inserts. For instance, this drawer has some special stuff going on, doesn't it?
Drawer and drawer, they call this. So you got a double stacked utility setup. You could have forks and knives on the top, and spatulas, etc., down the bottom.
Yeah, or your really nice regular daily wear here, but then this is your grandma's set below or whatever. And then you also have this really nice guy that's made for trays, right?
Exactly.
So when you're baking here, pop all your trays in here. And of course, you could also add more stuff in the future if you wanted to.
There's
oh, look at this.
Pot and pan or like Tupperware storage. You know, the Tupperware drawer always ends up a hot mess.
Oh, that's great looking. I like that.
This is a good way to organize that stuff.
Very cool. And this is empty because this is getting our drawer microwave.
Yep.
So that will get in there at some point. And we've got a slide-in 36-inch Wolf induction with range underneath, or with oven underneath, I should say. Ooh, check
This
that
is probably
out.
really where your cooking utensils are going to live.
Yeah, this is where the spatulas go and all those things. And when you're cooking, just slide that open. That looks great, David. I love it.
Another organizer over there. I just wanted to point out, too, this microwave cabinet, almost all of the new drawer microwaves are going to have an inch and a quarter flange.
Oh, really?
So we started building this as a kind of a bench type thing, and then the microwave slides in because we want the front of the appliance to be coplanar with our doors instead of sticking out.
Gotcha.
Because if you have a tight overhang, you'll have your appliance sticking out, and it's not a great look.
Doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this just got installed recently too. This is for the overhang. So we've got some slide in, maybe 3 bench stools, bar stools, I should say, that will slide in here. This appears to be all solid oak too.
It is, yeah.
That looks really well built. I mean, it looks to me like by the time we finish today, we're ready for templating on countertops, right?
Indeed. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. You got some stuff going on in the laundry room to finish up today. And it looked to me like the master bath was totally done. So, man, great job by Benchmark. The house is looking fabulous.
Yeah,
David, can't thank you enough for you
Thanks,
and
Matt.
your team's
always a
fabulous craftsmanship. These guys do a great job. I'll put a link in the description below for David's team. But if you're interested in crystal cabinets, where David sourced all these, I'll put a link to those guys too. Fabulous company in Minnesota. And David is my local guy for them, but he also does other lines as well. You also do some locally made cabinets. So David's been a fabulous resource for my business for many, many years. Thank you, David.
Matt.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
We are super close to the finish line over here at the Reisinger Build. We've been building this in partnership with our friends at Builders First Source. I just have a few more phases to go, so stay tuned for these last couple episodes, and we're going to show you how this job turns out. With that being said, big thanks to Builders First Source for sponsoring, and we'll see you next time on the Reisinger Build.